Hello friends, welcome back to the King YouTube channel. The Sussex duo is currently in Colombia facing yet another public relations debacle. Meghan truly miscalculated. She assumed that each trip would bolster her reputation, but this time it backfired. This visit resulted in more mistakes, more criticism, and definitely more harm. We'll revisit Harry and Meghan's Colombia visit. Despite the usual controversies and errors, their visit kicked off with a hands-on greeting from the vice president. We've already discussed how this excessive hugging is becoming odd. It's over the top far too much. It diminishes the value of embracing beyond anything meaningful. Consider how immature it is to perceive the world this way. If I hug them, they'll like me and think I'm sweet. Disgusting. Grow up. Stop it. On the second day, they visited a school under the guise of addressing social-emotional well-being and focusing on child safety in digital spaces. Logic seems unnecessary here. Supposedly, Harry and Meghan's visit to Colombia was mired in controversies, particularly their overuse of hugging and physical contact with children at a school. Their actions, including hugging and holding children without their parents present, were perceived as inappropriate and uncomfortable by many, especially in the context of teaching kids about personal boundaries and safety. Unlike other royals, where physical contact with children is often initiated by the kids and done in the presence of parents, the Sussexes' behavior was criticized for its lack of consideration. From this perspective, Harry and Meghan's interaction with these young students at their school without parental consent or awareness is even less suitable. Is it responsible to post such images? What about the Sussexes? Many also believe they used this school for PR, which is typical and expected. However, this school did not represent most Colombians. It was a wealthy, exclusive charter school. Similar to their visit to Nigeria, some question their choice of schools, communities, and institutions that cater to a small, financially secure, upper-class population. Instead of focusing on the Sussexes, aid should be directed toward all low-income schools. Not all schools are as well-funded as the one Harry and Meghan visited, but providing supplies, uniforms, transportation, or a social-emotional well-being curriculum could make a difference. Colombia had an approximate 37% poverty rate in 2022, and it was increasing in 2024. With all their grand talk, Harry and Meghan make the lofty language they use in their RQL descriptions and mission statements seem absurd by not selecting a school that could truly benefit from their support. It's becoming evident to observers and journalists that the Sussexes are always talking but never acting. Day 3 was odd. They imitated the royals by copying Prince William and Princess Catherine's drumming photos from their trip to Jamaica a few years back. Very strange. They simply duplicated the images, and Meghan struck the same poses. She has done this repeatedly. Numerous examples exist. She might have requested to see a seaside drumming session. Perhaps Meghan Markle orchestrated this photo op, but others may think it was just a coincidence. Do you think the vice president or someone else arranged this, making it a mere coincidence? Harry and Meghan's crude imitations of the royal family they have criticized for years consistently fail for two main reasons. First, the comparison is always unfavorable for the Sussexes. People quickly recall these moments from the actual royals who appear more genuine, kind, and joyful compared to the sour, self-serving Sussexes with their inflated egos. Moreover, the royal family did it first, so the Sussexes will always be seen as trying to match a standard they simply cannot. Second, it's baffling. Why imitate people in roles you claim to despise and felt trapped in? It makes no sense. Harry and Meghan frequently said they disliked these aspects, yet here they are. Why mimic royalty? Why replicate a system you criticize so harshly? It's inconsistent behavior, and when you scratch beneath the surface, nothing substantial remains. Why are they there? They're merely draining government and taxpayer money to stage these photo ops. It's peculiar. Such behavior is rare among celebrities. In collaboration with the British government, the royals represent the monarchy and Commonwealth nations on diplomatic trips to other countries. They promote cultural, environmental, and humanitarian causes during their visits. These initiatives benefit the host country and foster unity. For instance, royal tours have depth and purpose. They occur for reasons beyond just having fun. The Sussexes' attempt to emulate the royal family fails because they lack the associations to justify their presence, and people will see beyond these photos and recognize the void. They are private individuals running a foundation that donates small sums to charity without generating much tangible benefit. Staging these activities is ridiculous. They come across as performative, reminiscent of immature people or narcissists who behave as if they're in a movie all the time. They're always acting. They consistently behave oddly, as though all eyes are on them and they're fulfilling some film role in their minds wherever they go and in everything they do. It's just not normal. They try to package it as aspirational, like some kind of charitable Mother Teresa type nonsense when it's not. On their final day, they took part in a discussion about empowering Afro-Colombian women. This forum might have been planned in advance, but it could have also been thrown together at the last minute like the other panel because they needed to organize important activities for this trip. Meghan repeated the dish soap story within 5 minutes, something we've already heard many times. Why do we keep hearing this nonsense? To avoid repeating myself, when Meghan was in school, it was a standard classroom assignment to identify biases in our world, culture, and daily lives and write letters to advocate for change. Many students in various school districts had the same assignment as Meghan. I mention this because Meghan has framed and marketed this dish soap ad story to make it seem like she single-handedly brought about the change, which is laughable, so unrealistic. She ran with it and repeated it to make it appear true. The company received thousands of letters before deciding to change its commercial. The fact that she continues to take credit for this story after telling it so many times is a sign of narcissism. She even said on stage in California, "I was lucky to feel heard as a young girl, which is a luxury many young girls and women don't have. Our job as parents and as mothers is to make sure young females feel heard and that young boys learn to listen to them." Aside from the repetitiveness, we've heard all these talking points before. Meghan added during her first and only speaking appearance with the Whales that women have a voice and should be encouraged to use it and that everyone should listen. Do you recall, these are problem-based talking points, not solution-oriented ones, which statistically are more effective at changing behavior. How, Meghan, are you making girls feel heard? How are you supporting this ridiculously broad position? Why do you believe women are ignored? Perhaps they are. How are you making boys listen to girls? I want more details about your approaches. I don't like this method. It feels outdated and also perpetuates gender divisions and categorizations. Suggesting that one gender should speak more and be prioritized in any given situation while the other should listen is problematic. I don't want anyone to think their voice or need to listen is based on their gender. It's silly and ludicrous. I think this approach and language could make boys uncomfortable speaking up, as though they shouldn't have anything to say and should step back whenever a woman is talking bad messaging, much like her South by Southwest panel comments. The dish soap anecdote sounds outdated, like an issue we've already moved past as a culture. It might have been relevant when Meghan was younger, but from my experience and that of everyone I know, this repetitive, almost antiquated notion that women should be heard more is outdated. We've moved on. Women are heard, women speak up. Progress has been made. What is she talking about? I believe the shift away from Meghan's 15-year-old talking points indicates progress. We no longer need to teach boys to listen and girls to speak. No more boy-girl nonsense. Just people. People should listen to one another and speak politely according to a more progressive perspective. It's similar to Meghan's excuse-making behavior. She claimed that the media shouldn't have attacked her for the Oprah interview because she was pregnant, or Harry suggested Meghan shouldn't receive critical press because she's biracial. This is just another example of their narrow-minded thinking. The idea that gender should dictate whether someone listens or speaks is absurd. Their recent actions, especially during the music event, were poorly planned, reflecting a lack of responsibility, especially for public figures trying to present themselves as leaders. The last few days of their trip had fewer engagements, suggesting they struggled to fill the schedule. This raises questions about their effectiveness and the purpose of these appearances, particularly compared to their Nigeria visit. While this trip appeared more structured and focused on PR, particularly around child internet safety, it still faced criticism for its inconsistency in actions. The ongoing scrutiny regarding the ethics and costs of these trips, as well as the perception that they exploit these nations, makes it clear that their approach is unsustainable. What are your thoughts on this? Some social commentary: many men, from teenagers to the elderly, have faced significant challenges over the past 10 to 15 years in schools, the workplace, and society as a whole. In our country, the suicide rate for males is much higher than for females, partly due to the backlash and constant blaming of men for everything wrong in society and the world. Some feminists might argue that men deserve this as a form of payback for the years when women were oppressed. However, I believe that seeking revenge only harms everyone involved, not just those targeted. Everyone, regardless of gender, should be taught the responsibilities that come with their rights, respect for others, and other important values that seem to have been lost over the past 20 to 30 years. Anyway, I'm so glad the women they married are nothing like Meghan. Please, for the love of God, don't let her succeed in being a role model for the next generation. It's hypocritical to go to great lengths to keep your own children out of the public eye, but not care if you use others' children in photos for money and PR, especially when the only clear pictures of them with children are never with their own kids. They claim to be so concerned about online safety, but have no issue exploiting other children, using them as props or human shields. If they truly believed they were in danger, what does it say that they put those poor kids in front of them? They are distasteful in every possible way. She needs to stop invading people's personal space, keep her hands to herself, and stop inserting herself into the center of every photo op. You see, in all the hugging photos, Meghan ensures her face is angled toward the camera. Her message about voices being heard is so outdated, it might have been relevant decades ago. Women hold positions of authority in many countries. Imagine saying that on a panel in Colombia, where the vice president is a woman. Am I correct in my assessment? Please share your thoughts with me in the comments section below. I appreciate you checking out my video. I would be grateful if you could show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Goodbye, and I hope to see you again soon.